Hi, I'm Kanan, and I chose to do my speech on how to make beef burgundy. I chose this dish because I really like it, but my mom doesn't make it that often because it takes a while to make and is pretty expensive. I heard about this from a friend in French class when he brought it in for our food day. I also decided to do this dish because I thought it had a long, interesting past, but to my surprise, it was rather short. The history of this dish dates back to the medieval era when peasants would make it since it was cheap and would feed their family for a few days. This dish was traditionally slow cooked over 2 days, which would make the meat more tender and add even more flavor. Even though it was popular in the medieval ages, the first recipe of this dish was found in 1903 by the chef Auguste Escoffier. His recipe called for a whole piece of meat. Later, a new chef put their twist on it. This chef's name was Julia Child, and she cut the beef into cubes instead of using a whole piece of meat, which ended up sticking and becoming the staple recipe for beef burgundy. Now, for what all you've been waiting for, time to prep and cook this baby. So to start our ingredients, we have beef stew meat, then we have some bacon that will be sliced later, some mushrooms, we have 4 onions, this is only one of them. You'll need measuring cups, just grab any amount of measuring cups. You'll need butter, you'll need thyme, you'll need bay leaves, some flour, some parsley, black pepper, just pepper, some garlic, beef broth, and some salt. So to start your recipe, you want to start with cutting your bacon into about 1-inch squares and cooking it in a Dutch oven or a crock pot on low heat until the bacon is crisp. Then you want to remove the bacon and put it into a bowl with a slotted spoon and putting that bacon into the fridge for later. Now, while the bacon is cooking, you want to take your meat and cut it into about 1-inch cubes and coat them in flour. And this is about what they should look like. And I did it on plates so that I didn't get my counter all wet or dirty with flour. And I added more bacon because you can't go wrong with more bacon. So we'll wait for that to get crispy and then take that out. So now that the bacon's cooked, you want to take it out and put it in a bowl. I'll put this in the refrigerator. Then you want to take I took about half of my meat, put it in the Dutch oven until it's brown, and then I'll take that out and cook this other half of the meat and then drain the fat. So at this point, I've cooked about half of my meat, and I decided to do the meat in batches like I mentioned earlier, and I put in the next bit of beef. So this is about the color you want it. There can be a few like pinkish areas on the meat, but mostly brown. And I'm cooking the next batch and I'll get right back to it. Next, you want to add 1.5 cups of beef broth into the Dutch oven. And then you're going to add just enough water so that it covers up the meat completely. Just do that. Is that good? Good. Okay. And then you're going to add half a teaspoon of dried thyme. That's what the name of it. Just in like that. And then you're gonna add 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, which I just got a grinder or whatever you call this thing, and I'm gonna twist it 5 times.
Maybe more. That's probably good.
Okay. That should be good enough. Then you're gonna add some pepper, and I'm gonna do a similar thing. You want less pepper than the salt, so I'm gonna twist it 3, maybe 4 times, and then you're gonna grab a hefty bit of garlic because everyone loves garlic, and you're just gonna put it right in there.
That's a lot of garlic.
That is a lot of garlic. And then finally, you just want to add a bay leaf just on top. And you're gonna bring that to a boil, and then once it is at a boil, you cover it and let it cook for an hour and a half. Okay, next you want to melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a pan or skillet, and wait for that to melt. And then once that is melted, you want to take your 4 onions that you sliced. I cut them into like thin slices like this, and you want to put that in the melted butter. And then you want to take 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms and put that in with the onions. There's some sticking to the thing. And you're going to let that mixture mix together. And then we'll add that to the stuff that's cooking right now. After that mushroom and onion mixture cooks for a while, or like 10 minutes, you want to take your bacon and that mushroom mixture and add it all into the pot that you're cooking the beef and the rest of the stew. And then you're going to let that cook on low for about another 10 minutes while covered. Once you take out the bay leaf and garnish with parsley, you're done. Bon appetit.